This week started off with about 6 inches of rain over about 4 days. That pond across the street is about 6 foot deep at the deepest and was almost empty, but running over by the time the sun finally came out. I made fried chicken one night. I don't know how, but this was the best fried chicken I have ever made. It was bone-in thighs, and I served it with corn and some stuffing. Out of a box, but still stuffing. Had to be in town early the next morning for an appointment and decided to stop off for my favorite breakfast. But that night, I got back to the pantry. This spaghetti sauce already has ground beef in it, but I decided to add a little more. I always break my spaghetti in half. I don't know why, probably because my mama always did. And this was a spaghetti, which is a little bit thicker than the thin spaghetti. The little thin spaghetti sometimes is just too thin. And sometimes I'll use it if I'm going to make a shrimp dish or something. But for regular spaghetti, I just use regular spaghetti. I recently bought this little lid lifter to try to keep from messing up my lids and maybe reuse them for dry storage or something. But I just cannot get the hang of it yet. If you have any tips, let me know. I'm adding 1 little can of tomato paste to this sauce because I discovered after we started eating it, it just didn't have quite enough zing to it. So, adding 1 little can makes it perfect. So while the spaghetti is draining in the sink, I'm going to add the jar of ground beef. And I'm going to break it up and let it warm up a little bit. I love making it like this because it's one pot. Everything in one pot, which is always the easiest. So we're going to break it up, let it start sizzling, and then we'll add our sauce. We're going to let all this warm up, and then we'll add our spaghetti. Now let's add that small can of tomato paste. And just that 1 can is enough. There are so many things you could add as a side for a good spaghetti. Of course, garlic toast is the traditional. And I would, but trying to cut down on my bread a little bit. Green beans with onions are good. And of course, a salad always fits the bill. We don't do so much on salads, especially in the winter time. But in the summer, I do. Also be good with some toasted raviolis or maybe some toasted mushrooms. And that's what's great about an air fryer. All those things that we love, we can do in an air fryer. It helps a lot of times too if you put the right lid on the pot. You can see here, I hadn't quite mastered that yet, but I'm working on it. There we go. Now, we're going to let this all cook together for just a little while. We're going to add our spaghetti, and we'll be ready to eat. This morning, we're starting with dessert first. We're going to fix dessert. We're going to put some chicken in the crock pot. And when we get home late this afternoon, it'll all be ready. First, dessert. We're starting with cheesecake jello. We got some graham crackers just in a bag. Gonna crunch them. And I'm just going to take my jar that I'm going to use to put it all in and crunch them up. Instead of getting something else dirty, just going to use this. And this is about a half of a sleeve. So I'm going to use this to crunch them up. And then when I get done, I'll store these in this. All right, so let's put some down in here. And I'm not going to worry about making like a cheesecake crust or anything. It's nothing fancy. It's just me and Papa having supper. All right. There we go. Save that to top it with. Okay, got me a little bowl. 2 cups of milk. One little package of Jello. Remember that commercial? There's always room for Jello. If I had some strawberries or something, I'd put that on top, but I'm all out. Strawberry season needs to hurry up and get here. All right, so it'll take just a minute for this to thicken up. Oop, splatter it all over the counter because you know me, make a mess. All right, that's thickening up. So I'll put half in one and half in the other. We'll see how this goes. Move that out of the way. Well, it's going to be crust mixed in. Oh well. That. A little on top. More on top. Store these in here for snacks. And put these in the fridge. Ooh, got a big piece. There we go. And put these in the fridge to firm up for supper. Easy as that. All right, we're going to clean this up. We've got bacon cooking in the oven, and we'll get our crock pot full of chicken and bacon and other good stuff. Okay, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm admitting it. I'm giving in to peer pressure. We're making crock pot chicken. But here's my version. I have 2 chicken breasts already in the crock pot. These were in the freezer, needed to be used, so we've got them in the crock pot. I have 1 jar of my homemade chicken broth. I'm going to use about half of it. Yeah. Okay. I've got half a block of cream cheese because we used the other half for something we made the other day. So we're going to use this up. I'm going to cut it into little chunks. The sun is finally trying to come out. It's been raining and raining and raining. I think we probably had 5 or 6 inches of rain this week. I'm thankful for the rain. We definitely needed some. Ooh, it was a lot all at one time. All right. There's our cream cheese all kind of blocked up and laid around. Okay. All right, before I do anything else, I want to season it up using our nature seasoning, which I really like. I know a lot of folks use ranch, but I don't have any ranch right now. Generous amount of that. We're going to add some our Duke's mayo. Little dollop here, little dollop there. This will make it very tangy. Because if you know Duke's, you know Duke's. Good stuff. I'm going to add half a package of our Fiesta blend cheese that we like so much. This is a 2-cup package, so this will be about a cup. So we're going to pour that in. I've got 4 or 5 pieces of bacon that I cooked in the oven and then chopped up. Voila. Look at there. How pretty. All right. There's that. We're going to turn it on low for about 6 hours because it'll be about 6 hours till we get ready for supper. And we're going to put the lid on. And we'll check back on it in 6 hours. Coming in from work, this smelled so good. I wish, though, I'd added a little can of mushrooms with it. That would have been just put it over the top. Ended up serving it with some garlicky, cheesy mashed potatoes. And the cheesecake jars for dessert were wonderful. I did have to go to the grocery store one time, but like I said, eggs, milk. But that'll do it. See you next week.